Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Snetterton Farm. This is episode number 2, and we're going to get right to work here. It is a bit dark this morning. It's just after 6 a.m. in the morning. This is game day 2, early spring. And I am still trying to figure out sort of in my head how we're going to do the whole um, working with the videos and everything with how we're going to showcase this series. I've not decided if we're going to basically showcase this series with 96 total episodes. I don't know how that's going to basically play out for us, but we're just going to kind of go through the motions for just a little while and see how it kind of works out. Now we need to come around over here and we need to pick up one of these seeders. And I think what we will do is I'm going to send the Amazon over to seed grass, and we're going to have one of the guys. We'll have Jack do this. Now we need to go fill this guy up with seed, and so we'll take care of that here. We'll go ahead and close the cover there. I hope you all are having a good day. Now I need to clean up some of this equipment, and I still need to bring some equipment or basically have it delivered. I won't lie to you, we're just having the equipment delivered from the store up to the farm here, because they do provide that service, and it's an awesome service, and of course we spend quite a bit of money with them, so might as well take advantage of that. We will go ahead and fill this guy up here with wheat. And I will just go ahead and toggle through and get this set on grass, because we certainly don't want to make a mistake and fill this thing or start seeding the wrong thing. Now our ground temperature is 39 degrees, so if we take a look at our seasons chart here, grass can be planted at a minimum soil temperature of 37 degrees. So we're good to go with grass, and of course you can actually plant, you can certainly seed with the ground temperature being lower than I suppose, the optimum temperature, and I'll share a little bit about that here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and pull up to our seed or to our fertilizer here, and we'll refill that, and I'll bring up this and talk about it a little bit. So our temperature is 39 degrees. Let's say, for example, if we felt like that tomorrow basically our soil temperature would warm up to 41 degrees, we would be safe to go ahead and plant any of those crops like canola or wheat or barley that do require a minimum soil temperature of 49 degrees. We would be okay to go ahead and do that for the simple fact that that the soil temperature would rise to that for tomorrow, and of course it needs that minimum soil temperature for the seeds to actually produce. Okay, so we don't have to wait if we don't want to, but obviously with 24, basically 23 more days of spring in a sense, then we've got plenty of time to get all of our planting and everything done. So we're going to be okay to just go ahead and kind of wait for now, at least, on the minimum temperatures to come on up, because like I said, this is the only field that we have prepped at the present point in time, is this field down here. So we will go ahead and prep to do grass in this. And I see that basically Billy Bob just went and left the class here. I believe he had his wife pick him up, and so he is going to be joining us here momentarily, and we will drive the class back to the main farm and then go ahead and get things set up for what we're going to basically be doing here pretty soon. So let's go ahead and matter of fact, Billy or Jack is right over here, and so Jack is going to take over for us and going to go ahead and seed this in grass. So let me just shift H, alternative helper needs to be off. I wish this was a global feature, but it kind of tends to be based on tractor. So we will go ahead and get, and we will hire a worker, and hopefully he will do just fine there. So we won't need to move out of the way, because the hired worker doesn't like to run over us, and we don't like to be ran over, so that is all fine. So let's go ahead and just jog over here, and we will take the big cloths down to the main farm and basically get ready to get seeding and plowing on our other field. Now that's field number 17, I believe. So I'll have to talk to Billy Bob about leaving his equipment and everything up here. He could have easily went ahead and drove it back to the farm, but I think it was late last night when he got finished, and maybe he was thinking that the sound of the tractor and everything would disturb my family. That's awfully nice of him, and then also maybe he was thinking that I could just drive it back since I needed to drive the tractor up there for Jack to start seeding. So, oh well, you know how it goes, folks. Let's see what's going on with our HUDs here. There we go. Not sure what happened there and why our HUDs went away. But anyway, 7:40 in the morning. Time is flying by. So what we will do is right now I'm going to just mainly stick to 2 hired workers. So we'll leave that there, and Billy Bob's going to run over and get in it. And let's see which one of these guys we were driving last night. It might be this guy here, and it looks like it was. So we will go ahead and get in him and head up to the other field here. We'll just back up here just a little ways and then get out. Again, trying very hard not to use tab or anything like that. Trying to be a little bit Control R. No, it's Control F, not Control R. All right, and we're off. So we'll go ahead and go over here to field number 17. All right, so our speed will definitely be faster than his speed, or it should be anyways. And certainly our working width is a little faster. So hopefully this is going to work out all right. I think the big test is going to be whether or not he can turn around. And we're basically leaving him in our dust anyway, so everything is going to work out all right. And if this works out okay, then what we will do is we will do the fertilization here on this field, because again, trying to kind of keep with just 2 hired workers for now. We may bring in a 3rd worker if we need to, but I think for right now, with the way that the seasons are, with the weather and everything else that we kind of have to look forward to, I think right now just Billy Bob and Jack will be just fine. Here again, hopefully there will be plenty of room. If not, we may have to kind of put some headlands for them. We'll see how this works out. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day, and I hope that you're enjoying the series. And again, I'm kind of still trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and all that kind of stuff. Back up just a little ways here, and I'm going to wait and see if he can make this turn okay, because otherwise, if he does not, I think he will. The key is going to be backing up. Now with course play, and I think he's probably going to leave we'll have to come, yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. We'll come around and we will do a headland and get that all sorted there. All right, well, anyway, it's good to have this working. It's good to have Jack up in the other field working. So worker number E is moving along, and worker number D is working as well. So everything is good, and we will do the fertilization here for us. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how best to do these videos for you guys. I want to make sure that things stay as unboring as possible for you, if that's a word, and basically have it so that you guys can see something a little bit different, even though, keep in mind, 24 game days per season. That means there's going to be 24 game days of spring, 24 of summer. You get the picture, okay? So I'm hoping that that will, still be able to do things that'll be a little bit different. What I might end up doing, because again, I'm sort of thinking that, okay, do you guys really want to see 96 episodes? Even if I condense them, even if I shorten the episodes down some, let's say if I shorten them, keep them down around 30 to 45 minutes, which still means that I'm still working about 30 to 45 minutes doing off-camera work. Even if I condense the videos down to, like I said, about 30 to 45 minutes, do you guys want to see 96 of those? Do you really want to watch my entire saga, my entire opportunity of doing this? If you do, then maybe I'll consider doing it that way. But I'm sort of thinking that maybe you might not want to see 96 full episodes. Jokingly, I was replying to a comment that Reefy 1952, or what he goes by on PCSG as Mirrorman, posted, and he said that he was getting started and everything with his challenge, and his number one goal was basically just to make it through the 96 game days the first year. And I replied back and I said, yeah, I said my goal is just mainly to get finished before Farm Sim 19 comes out. And it's somewhat of a joke, but it's kind of, there's perhaps some truth to that as well, in the sense that yeah, I mean 96 episodes, if I do this, if I record one episode a day, that's 96 days. Now I can tell you that I'm not going to exclusively play Farm Sim 17 and exclusively play this map for 96 straight days. That's just not going to work. I can't do that. But there again, I tend to get kind of bored with things, and I'll be honest with you, after sort of the frustrations that I had in getting episode 1 or getting the game day 1 stuff done, I had sort of even thought, is this really something I should do? As busy as I am, as I am with work, and sort of as busy as I am with the channel and everything, do I really want to commit to 96 days or 96 episodes to do this? And I sort of said, well, I already recorded the introduction episode, and I hate to start things if I don't think I'm going to finish it. And trust me, folks, the challenge, the previous challenge that I was in, it really does pain me to not finish that. I'm not finishing it for various reasons, and I'm not going to go into those details. I don't think we need to talk about it anymore. Oops, wrong way, Jerry. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore. And B, I can't drive worth a dime. But B, it's one of those things where I started something and I didn't finish it. But again, I've got reasons for that. And but we're going to give it a shot. And I'm operating sort of under with the goal of making sure that I have fun. So each episode, when I begin the episode, I want to essentially be in a situation where I'm looking forward to playing that episode. And then B, when the episode is done, can I say that I had fun while watching that episode? Or while playing that episode, playing that game day or whatever. And I think that if both answers to those scenarios or both answers to those questions is yes each and every time, then I think that I can say this is successful. We will consider this to be successful. If not, then I kind of need to perhaps rethink how I'm going to proceed with this, or whether I basically give up or whatever. And I don't like to give up. I don't like to I don't like to necessarily quit. And I think we might be better off turning and going this way now. We'll slide this over, and hopefully what we can do if we're fast enough, and I think that we will be, because I think that Billy Bob is driving, well, he's driving the tractor as fast as it will plow, so I can't complain too much there. But I think if we're lucky, and I think we will be, I think we will have time to get this done, to get this section of the field fertilized, get back to the main farm, get in a tractor and bring the other plow down, and then basically help him plow this field out and try to get that done in the course of this game day. Now, of course, yesterday, the game day one, we obviously didn't get started as early as we possibly could, because it took me about 2 hours in the sort of in the game day to essentially get everything set up, get the equipment set up that I wanted to use, and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, I recorded the introduction episode, and while I recorded that at 1x speed, it still took time to do that. And so, so you know, we didn't get started until about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And so now it's 11 o'clock, and he's, you know, I guess he's maybe, well, let's pull up the big map here. He's possibly almost halfway of that section that he's working there. So yeah, so if we basically can get to the farm, grab a tractor and plow, get back over here, we can possibly start this section here, and maybe basically get done all around the same time. I do like these. I do like these trucks and these accessory items. I'm not sure what you would basically call this, what it's officially called, but I do like this. I do like the fact that we can get different types of attachments for these types of trucks, and haul different kind of things around. We can do, you know, we can get a manure sprayer if we want to. I think if we do manure, if we spray any manure at all, and I don't know if we will do that or not. It kind of depends on how much manure that our pigs and our cows make between sort of now and then. But I'm sure that if we do any manure, whether it be slurry or solid manure, I'm sure that we're going to want to possibly go a little bit bigger as far as the capacity and the working width and all that kind of stuff, because again, it's probably going to be, time is going to be of the essence. And even though we are playing 24 game days, the 15x speed, that still does chew away a lot of time. I mean, we have been recording for about 22 minutes, and it's almost noon, so time is flying by. And of course, you know, I spent some time with the other challenge playing at 15x speed and 6 game days per season. Now that was really fast. Oops, hang on, stop. I sometimes get my buttons mixed up. I actually meant to just turn on my fertilizer there, and I wasn't gonna mess with doing the GPS just to do this bit here. But anyway, what was I saying? We'll get through it. We'll do, I think we'll do fine, and all will work out in the end. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically do an edit here, and I will come back to the video when we are back here with the tractor and with the plow. So basically I'll sort of bypass letting you guys watch me drive all the way back to the main farm and then come back out here with a tractor and plow. So I'll see you in just a few seconds. Alright, so we are back. Billy Bob is still plowing over there, and we are plowing here. And what I thought I would do is just put this border in, which should basically keep him over on that side, and basically when he reaches this, the AI will detect that he is done, and then of course he needs, or we will need to do his windrow and stuff there for him. But what we will do is we will work north and south here. So right now we're headed west, we will finish off this path, and then we will start working north and south up and down the field, and then turn around over this section here. And hopefully, my goal for this game day would be, I would be quite happy, quite content if we basically are able to say that we got this field plowed, and in a sense got, let's go ahead and flip this around, and yeah, if we got this field plowed, and if we got that other field seeded, I would basically call this success. I would call this, not only this episode a success, but this entire game day a success, especially after the game day that we kind of had yesterday. But again, you know, I don't know if I mentioned this in episode number 1, or perhaps maybe I'll just edit that comment out, but I had talked a little bit about, because I was quite frustrated, I won't lie to you. Yes, I do sometimes get frustrated playing simulation-based games, and I was really struggling with horseplay and not real sure why it was causing me some problems, and hopefully Jack is going to continue to work on field number 11 over there. Looks like he is. But yeah, you know, simulation-based games are frustrating. Courseplay is a little bit frustrating, and of course I try to remind myself that, well, courseplay is not perfect, because it's, you know, there's so many dynamics, there's so many different things, so many variables that do often cause problems, and you know, none of this stuff can be perfect, and it's kind of like you've got to figure out, well, what works best in this scenario. You know, I will tell you that in Farm Sim 15, in Farm Sim 15, courseplay was pretty much my go-to thing for AI, for controlling equipment. Auto Combine worked really well on a lot of fields in Farm Sim 15, but courseplay would work pretty much on everything else. Here in Farm Sim 17, I still have a little bit of frustration and the occasional problem with courseplay. It sometimes has to do with the type of equipment, the type of tractors or the implements or whatever that that tractor is pulling, or at least that's my experience. That's kind of what I have put together, 1 and 1 makes 2 kind of thing. But in Farm Sim 17, the default AI is far better than it was in Farm Sim 15, and I don't know if you experience, or if you can confirm that to be true in your own sort of in your own virtual world. But in my virtual world, from what I have seen, with both comparing both Farm Sim 15 and Farm Sim 17 as it relates to the whole AI stuff, Farm Sim 17 default AI is much better than it was in 15. And so it's kind of like trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going to work best in this scenario? Is it going to work best to use courseplay, or is it going to work best to use Auto Combine, or AI Vehicle Extension, as it's now called, or is it going to work best to just use the default AI? So your mileage may vary. I'm certainly not 100% an expert on these things, even though I use it a lot. I love this game. This is you know, still by far my favorite simulation-based game, even over Flight Sim. I think because, you know, it just works. Everything just works. I get really good performance. I get really good frame rates for the most part, and it just, you know, it just works. And I know that you guys enjoy it, and I know that that's kind of what my channel has been sort of built on, has been on Farm Sim, and so yeah. But I do very much still enjoy it, or I wouldn't be playing it. I mean, that's the honest to God's truth, folks. I'm not just, I don't just say, you know, sometimes I say a lot of things, but I really do truly mean that if I didn't like doing something, if I didn't like playing something, I wouldn't be doing it. You know, that's one of my, oftentimes I speak to young people about their IT future, especially within the world of information technology, and it's a completely different world today than it was when I was getting into it 25, 26 years ago. it's completely different nowadays. And I'm often asked if if I believe that if an IT career is a viable option for a young person to consider getting into. And I still believe that it is. I think that there are obviously there are some major differences with how things are today versus how they were, like I said, 20 years ago. Things are different today than they were just 10 years ago. And actually, I think they're even maybe a little bit better today than, let's say, they were about 10 years ago. I know my company, about 10 years ago, they pretty much weren't hiring anybody in the US. Pretty much everything was getting put overseas, whether it be in India or in China or Chile or pretty much you name it. We tried Egypt for a little while, and of course, a lot of tensions and everything sort of forced us out of that region. But we've tried many different things, and we just weren't hiring here in the US. And now that's changed. In the last 5 years or so, pretty much every position that I've seen that's kind of come up available, open, has been filled right here in the US of A. In any of our local office centers, whether it be in Denver or down in Orlando, Florida, or in Utah. We've got an operation in Salt Lake, or near Salt Lake, and then of course in California, where our headquarters is. So it is different, but I'm often asked if it's something that people should consider, and I say absolutely. I say absolutely it is, but it is just a little bit different world now than it was 25, 26, 27 years ago. And you just adapt. But what I usually tell young people is that like your job and love your job. If you don't like the situation that you are in, then you need to take control of that, because no one, just because you dislike your job, or just because you dislike a video game, or dislike something about your life, just because you dislike it, and even just voicing and saying I don't like this, isn't going to automatically change it. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's going to change it at all. You hold the keys to your success. And if you're a young person watching this, I cannot stress this enough, that you hold the keys to your own success, and you need to be the one that basically maintains control of that. And if you don't like the job that you're in, change jobs. Learn a new skill, learn something that will put you in a different, unique sort of perspective, a unique category or whatever, and go for it. I mean, that's what I have done since I got into the IT field, which was 26, 27 years ago. I didn't always like the type of work that I was doing, but I couldn't really do anything else. I mean, the world of IT is sort of entry, there's some entry level stuff that pretty much most everyone that I know that has developed a career in IT have all sort of started from the same place, usually a help desk type environment, and then sort of worked into PC support, and then maybe you developed your skills around either telephony or networking, or maybe it's maybe something like Microsoft Exchange or some other server type environment system. And so you do this, and you just continuously try to better yourself. You just continuously try to make sure that you do the right thing, always thinking about doing the right thing. And so that's my advice to young people and old people alike. I mean, if you're in a situation and you don't like it, do something about it. Take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and get yourself some additional skills or additional training or whatever, and make the change. Well, same thing goes back to my virtual gaming and everything, and I don't really know why I got off on this tangent, but it happened. But yeah, I mean, if I don't like doing something, if I don't like playing a game or whatever, I set it aside for a while, and generally the love, the magic comes back. But it's often you know, it's often it often takes a little while, and that's okay. Okay, well, I think what's going to happen here is Billy Bob is running down the hill. I see him. Don't you see him? All right, so Billy Bob is running down the hill, and he is going to basically jump in our tractor here, and he is going to basically finish out this section. Let me make sure, Shift H. See, alternative helper is on. Okay, let's turn this off. I don't like to, and I don't know why my auto hide is triggered to Shift H, but anyway, let's go ahead and drop our plow, and let's go ahead and get Billy Bob working, going that direction. We are going to basically run up the hill, and I'm probably going to be really tired by the time I get there. And we are going to grab Billy Bob's tractor, and we're going to tidy up his headlands and make sure that everything is looking the way that we like it, because I'm pretty picky about stuff like that. And then we'll see how things go from there. I don't know if we'll see. There he goes again. He leaves the plow down. I'll have to talk to him about that. All right, so here we are. And there goes my HUD. My HUDs hide all by themselves. I really don't know what is going on with that. Anyway, our weather forecast, I've got it up because I'm kind of, you know, this is, as I was saying in episode 1, I think, or maybe it was even in the introduction episode, this is pretty much a fish out of water experience for me. Even though I'm used to, or I was somewhat used to, after recording 40 episodes of the other challenge at 15x speed, I was getting used to the 15x speed time frame, but what I am not used to, what I have never experienced before, is 24-day seasons in Farm Sim 17. And so keeping an eye on the weather forecast is something that, you know, I'm just wanting to make sure that we do, because I want to make sure that we don't have any surprises with regards to weather. And I do know that the Seasons mod is perhaps looking at putting some changes into perhaps maybe their 2.0 version of Seasons, if there's going to be such a thing. And that's going to essentially prevent anyone from being able to spray liquid fertilizer in the rain. Now, of course, we're not running that version of the Seasons mod, so we don't have to necessarily really worry about that right now. But obviously that would become a factor at some point in time. Of course, the time is not now yet, but we're not going to worry about that because it's not built in. We will spray, but we're not going to have to spray for quite a while, I don't think. I mean, obviously we're putting down solid fertilizer, then we're plowing that in, and then we're seeding and fertilizing at the same time. Both of our, at least our regular grain seeders like wheat and barley and grass, those put fertilizer down at the same time. And then we will come along at some point in time when we need to and spray with liquid fertilizer. But I'm also, you know, I'm going to keep an eye on things such as the amount of manure that we have, and may actually consider. We'll see how that works out. Now, Billy Bob's going to stay here on this field. We're going to go back and get a seeder and see if we can seed grass and see just how much of that grass we can actually get put down in this game day. We'll see if that works out for us that way. I suppose a smarter thing might have been to have just brought the, whoops, we take that corner a bit too sharp there. I guess the smart thing would have been maybe instead of us bringing down the plow and plowing, is we could have brought down the seeder. And since this field belongs to us, and since it's basically don't have anything on it and we haven't plowed it yet, we are going to cut across the field. We can do that because it's a field that we own and there's nothing planted on it. Obviously, we are using crop destruction and all that good stuff, so we'll have to be really careful with regards to that whenever. And we're off. All right, well, I guess 9 miles an hour is going to be fine. We'll see how it's going to work coming up this other hill. We may have bit off a little bit more than perhaps we can chew with this, although I believe this tractor is in the 500 horsepower range, but it's possible that it just is not quite strong enough for this. Now, I looked at the horsepower on this tractor and it didn't necessarily, I think it was in the horsepower requirements for the seeder, and it wasn't, even though it's part of the Big Bud pack, I don't think that the requirements necessarily called for it to be the Big Bud or even the Little Bud. So I think we'll be all right. What we'll do is we'll put a headland on this end, and then we will more or less let Billy Bob take over and let him go ahead and finish, or at least to proceed seeding on this field, and then we'll go and get Jack back to the main farm and possibly bring that seeder over here. Because one thing that we're not going to do is we may trade this seeder in, but we're not going to get a Big Bud. I don't think that is going to be required. Alright, so we're going to haul this tractor and this plow back to the main farm. Billy Bob has finished and he has relieved us and is planting grass. So we're going to drive this back to the main farm, and then we will probably go up and grab the seeder, the other seeder, the smaller seeder, the seeder that I think that we will probably stick with and use. And we will bring that down. We will do a little grass seeding. We'll go get in our truck and drive it down, and then we'll get Jack to drive the truck back. I just saw that notice just a few seconds ago about Billy Bob being done. That is not true. There is no way that he can be done. So here's what we're going to do. I saw that we've got a few spots here that we need to basically address. So I am going to end this episode here. We will come back for episode number 3 on game day number 3. I don't know how many minutes this video will end up being. Probably closer to 45 than it's going to be 30. I'll cut out quite a bit of it. And then we will regroup in episode 3 and see where we go from here. So thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate you watching this challenge series. And if you have suggestions as far as how you might like to see the content, if you want to see 96 episodes, or maybe you want to see just every 3rd or 4th episode, and I just kind of fill you in while I'm recording and while I'm doing tasks on the farm, that is certainly something that we could entertain doing. So let me know with maybe your comments, or come over and chat with me on Discord. You can do that as well. So I appreciate you watching, and as always, thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other, and come back in here very, very soon. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.